The Zheng family led the way, bringing many gifts and chatting with Qin Yao. When they saw Qin Fei, their eyes lit up. Qin Yao was also very happy to step forward and pulled Qin Fei inside. She whispered, "Brother, these people saw us come back and immediately came to visit. I didn't expect our reputation to be so good. As soon as we return, someone specifically comes to greet us. Our family is amazing. Look at that Li Chaoren. He's all smiles towards us." Among the four great families, Li Chaoren's family was included. Qin Yao was even more proud. After all, her brother's current reputation was enough to make Li Chaoren's family look up to him. They regretted not having a closer relationship with Qin Fei. Now it's good. Qin Fei is soaring high, and the four great families of Xiangjiang might need to rewrite their standings. The Qin family could even potentially join the ranks of the four great families of Xiangjiang. And now, Qin Fei wouldn't even take Li Chaoren's family seriously. With a smile on his face, he carried an aura of a king. His expression was calm, exuding pride as he sat on the sofa with Qin Yao. Facing the Zheng family, he spoke, "Mr. Zheng, I hope you're well." This time, with the rise of the Hang Seng Index, I believe everyone has made quite a bit of money. The property market has rebounded significantly. I see that what was 100,000 per square foot in Xiangjiang is now back to 200,000, and it might even break 250,000. This was the most joyous news for everyone. Hearing Qin Fei's words, the Zheng family laughed heartily, their smiles radiant. This is all thanks to Mr. Qin. Mr. Qin has saved the Hang Seng and is a true savior of Xiangjiang. If it weren't for Mr. Qin, the economy of Xiangjiang would not have improved. A smile appeared at the corner of Qin Fei's mouth, but inside, he was sneering continuously. He really had no intention of continuing to help the four great families, or to boost the Xiangjiang property market together with them. What a joke. This was earning money in a morally questionable way. Now that the property market was warming up, many people had already begun to complain. Those who couldn't afford the properties certainly couldn't afford to buy houses, and with the rise in the property market, rents were also starting to increase. Qin Fei understood very well the purpose of the four great families seeking him out. Chapter 90. Qin Fei will not conspire with others. Mr. Zheng spoke first, explaining the purpose of this visit. Young Master Qin, there is still room for growth in the Hong Kong property market. With the Hang Seng Index rising, the real estate market is going crazy. I believe we can push property prices even higher. Originally, good locations in areas like Xiangjiang, Kowloon, Wanchai, and new territories average around 150,000 HKD per square foot. But now they are at 200,000 at most. Upon mentioning this, a smile appeared on the other party's lips. We believe there is still new upward potential. We want to invest 2 trillion Hong Kong dollars to drive the price up to 300,000 per square foot. Qin Fei frowned, while Qin Yao beside him had a changing expression at Mr. Zheng's words. She whispered in his ear, "Brother, if 1 square foot is 300,000 HKD, then a 1,000 square foot luxury apartment would cost 300 million Hong Kong dollars. Qin Yao was stunned. Even though the average income in Xiangjiang was quite high, nearing 20,000 HKD, and white-collar workers earned 50,000 HKD a month, that still meant an annual income of less than 1 million Hong Kong dollars. Yet, a 90-square-meter apartment would require 300 million Hong Kong dollars. Even if one took out a loan for centuries, they wouldn't be able to afford it. Unable to buy a home, they'd only end up as laborers working hard to pay off loans for a few real estate developers. This approach was inhumane. The rebound in the Xiangjiang real estate market was inevitable. However, he did not plan to inflate the market himself. He already had assets and certainly wouldn't profit from any unscrupulous money. He made enough USD trading U.S. stocks and various futures and foreign exchange. Now, to profit from the ordinary people of Xiangjiang, he merely sneered and said coldly, "Mr. Zheng, the property prices in Xiangjiang are already high enough. Doubling them again? With so much money, what do the four major families need to earn so much for? Even if you want to emigrate, you already have enough money. So why squeeze more? The Hang Seng has just started to warm up. Ordinary people's lives are just getting better." Qin Yao nodded in agreement. She also did not support inflating property prices. When property prices rise, rent will surely follow. She recalled that a small public rental apartment of less than 20 square meters, not even a good location, cost over 10,000 HKD a month. If prices doubled, a good location could cost tens of thousands of HKD a month. Who could afford such expensive rent? Yes, the property prices are already fierce. If they double, the rents in Xiangjiang will also skyrocket. Ordinary people find it hard enough to make a living without making their lives even tougher. Mr. Zhang's face turned awkward, and he fell silent for a moment, unable to find the words. Qin Fei didn't want to waste more time. He waved his hand and said calmly, "All right, butler, show our guests out. Gentlemen, we do not share the same path and do not conspire together. I have never planned to emigrate. I only hope for a stable economy in Xiangjiang. I want to earn money from the people of the lighthouse country. Beyond that, I have no interest in the money of ordinary people in Xiangjiang." After saying that, he directly had the servants escort the group out. The four major families, feeling dismissed, exchanged glances as they left. Mr. Zhang's expression was unpredictable. It was his first time being thrown out, and he couldn't understand why the other party refused to earn money. Li Chaoran sneered, his expression cold. This guy just doesn't get it. Eventually, he'll understand what's what, and will continue to inflate the property market. Once he sees the profits to be made, he'll inevitably jump on the bandwagon. Seizing the opportunity, he didn't forget to strike at Qin Fei, wondering why Qin Fei treated him with such disdain. The four major families were once again trying to inflate the property market. After all, real estate was indeed very profitable. Everyone agreed with Li's words. Even if Qin Fei didn't join in, they wouldn't simply give up. They agreed on how much capital to invest to inflate property prices. In the villa, after the families left, Qin Yao continued to complain, adamantly opposing the inflation of the property market. She pouted and couldn't help but speak up. "Brother, these people certainly won't give up. I'm afraid the Xiangjiang property market is going to change again. When property prices rise, the poor will suffer even more. Can't we do something about it?" Qin Yao was really addicted to charity. In fact, the last time the Hang Seng rose and saved many, it had helped him considerably. For instance, the stock price of TVB had surged past 120 Hong Kong dollars. That was a 20 increase from the original 100 Hong Kong dollars, and it was still rising. The remaining stock was the one he planned to list, which had a listing price of 150 Hong Kong dollars. The listing date was already set, and many were watching because of his fame. Many investors would support it. A high price of 150 Hong Kong dollars was quite impressive. If the launch succeeded, he could earn hundreds of billions of HKD, possibly even reaching $1 trillion. This was all a result of doing charity, which had greatly boosted his reputation. So, he was very supportive of Qin Yao's charitable efforts. Seeing her worried about rising property prices and rents in Xiangjiang, which ordinary people couldn't afford, he smiled, ruffled her hair, and couldn't help but say, "How about we do a news report to shift the focus?" The rise in Xiangjiang property market relies on funds from the upper middle class and above, primarily the wealthy. These people want to buy properties and invest. We can redirect this portion of their funds. Qin Yao looked curious, unsure of what Qin Fei was planning. "Brother, how do we redirect it?" Qin Fei had already thought of a good focus and smiled. "Of course, to the nearby Beishan. I've had Uncle Fong buy several plots of land there. In the development of Beishan, we'll let the Xiangjiang property market shift to Beishan, allowing the Beishan market to grow. After all, the Beishan property market would also rise." He was just riding the momentum to let a large amount of capital flow into Beishan. Even without mentioning it, many wealthy people from Xiangjiang would discover it. The connection between Beishan and Xiangjiang was too deep. Regardless of the circumstances, they would influence each other. Qin Fei's words clearly caught Qin Yao's attention. Thinking that Xiangjiang, being such a small place, couldn't possibly absorb too much capital, but the mainland was different, she nodded and agreed with Qin Fei. In fact, if wealthy people from Xiangjiang transfer their funds to the mainland, it would greatly impact the mainland stock market, definitely boosting the CSI 300. This was also what he hoped to see. By then, he also planned to list his company on the A-share market. If he could successfully list, he would earn money. This way, he could help others while making money for himself. What's not to like? As for how to promote it, he had TVB in hand, so promoting it would be simple. He made a phone call to TVB, and a program was directly arranged. The host of the program would, of course, be Qin Yao. who was very happy and eager to be the host for this special event. When the TVB team came to pick her up, she happily kissed Qin Fei goodbye. After she got into the TVB car, she was arranged for this special program. Qin Fei also checked the news reports. It was clear that the four major families were simultaneously inflating the property market, and this round of competition with them had begun. The four major families were raising property prices in Kowloon, Wanchai, and many areas in the new territories, with new high prices for new properties. The Li family, Zheng family, and others were once again raising property prices, and this time, the market might break through to new highs. The four major families joined forces with banks to offer 50-year loan services, causing property prices to surge by 20. A 50-year loan is quite daring. Qin Fei couldn't help but sigh. These people were simply insane. He maintained a calm expression while watching the news report, and, at the same time, he turned on the television. Coincidentally, a report from TVB appeared, featuring a new financial special report. Qin Yao had already arrived at the television station, and after putting on her makeup, she appeared on screen looking composed and mature. He realized unconsciously that his younger sister had grown up, looking at her on the television. Qin Fei noticed that Qin Yao was no longer the little girl who used to act spoiled under his protection. She was increasingly embodying the demeanor of a wealthy young lady, with every frown and smile exuding elegance. His sister had truly grown up. As Qin Yao began her live broadcast on the television, she started speaking sweetly without even a prepared speech, relying on her own abilities. On the television, she began discussing the special financial report. Today, a special financial report, as everyone knows, concerns the rising prices in the housing market. This time, the property prices are being adjusted, which affects the living conditions of ordinary people. The rise in Hong Kong's property market will impact rent and the expenses of regular citizens. We should resist this increase in property prices. Her words immediately sparked significant reactions. Many people called in, expressing their dissatisfaction with the price adjustments made by the four major families. With Qin Yao actively appearing on television and directly stating that property prices should not rise, she quickly gained the support of the ordinary people in Hong Kong. Some were so excited that they called in to express their support. "Miss, you spoke so well. I am from an ordinary family in Hong Kong, and we live in a 500-square-foot public housing unit. To buy a home, our family of 5 pooled our salaries for decades for a down payment. But who knew the housing prices would rise again?" After one complaint ended, more followed. "Our family has 6 members, and we currently pay 100,000 HKD a month for a place that's only 700 square feet. This time, our landlord suddenly said he would raise the rent to 150,000 HKD. We can't afford to live like this and might end up sleeping on streets. The property prices in Hong Kong are too high. When they rise, they double. How can ordinary people possibly bear this?" Listening to the numerous calls, Qin Yao remained serious and, with a hint of anger, continued speaking. "Yes, everyone has heard that the rise in property prices threatens the lives of ordinary people, and we must strongly resist it. At the same time, I want to say that compared to Hong Kong, the property market in northern Shenzhen has greater potential. Wealthy individuals in Hong Kong do not need to follow the four major families in inflating the property prices here." Chapter 91. The four prominent families drive up the real estate market this time. We cannot allow other wealthy individuals to collaborate with the four prominent families to inflate the market. We need to shift some capital from Hong Kong. The most suitable city for this transfer is Beijing. After all, property prices in Beijing will definitely rise, and he is just leveraging the momentum to push prices up. Ultimately, the more Beijing real estate appreciates, the more profit he will make from the land he has acquired. Qin Yao began to discuss Beijing's development, explaining the current strength of the mainland's development, which surprised many people in Hong Kong. After all, many in Hong Kong have never been to the mainland, and their impression of it still lingers in the 70s and 80s. Now, as Qin Yao introduces the development of Beijing, many in Hong Kong realize how impressive this city has become. Its future is bright, and clearly, Beijing's development speed is much faster than that of Hong Kong. Hong Kong has stagnated, remaining stuck over a decade ago, with many of its industries still at a standstill. Meanwhile, Beijing has risen as an important city in the mainland. Its development potential has already caught up with Hong Kong, and many people from Hong Kong have already stepped into Beijing. The economic rise of Beijing is indeed closely tied to Hong Kong. Qin Yao's direct statements immediately drew attention from a crowd, many of whom noticed the rising property prices in mainland Beijing. Some news media also began reporting on this wave, stating that Qin Fei has positively impacted Beijing's real estate market. This led to an increase in Beijing's real estate prices, which also boosted the CSI 300 index significantly. Following this news report, the CSI 300 index surged by 200 points. This took Qin Fei by surprise, and seeing it unfold before him made him smile broadly. Qin Yao's organization of this event was indeed perfect. The four prominent families' attempt to drive up the Hong Kong real estate market was fundamentally impossible since he holds very little land there. Even if the Hong Kong market does not rise and remains at the same price, he won't lose money. Unlike the four families, all his capital is in finance. He has a complete cash flow. In Hong Kong, he only owns a few villas, some small shops, and an office building. There is little room for these properties to decrease in value. As Qin Fei watched various news reports, he knew the four families must be anxious. TVB reported that Beijing's property prices have reached those of Hong Kong, which can be seen from the property trends over the past 6 months. Originally, traveling between Beijing and Hong Kong was quite convenient, and with a short-distance high-speed rail set to open within 6 months, it would become even easier, ensuring that the Beijing market would rise. The two places are just separated by a river, yet the price difference can be dozens of times. White-collar workers and middle-class individuals in Hong Kong might only think they can buy real estate in Hong Kong, but that may not be the case. With a distance of less than 10 kilometers, property prices can differ fivefold. Who can fill this gap? Some have already noticed that there are places where Beijing and Hong Kong are merely separated by a river. On the Hong Kong side, the land price is 200,000 per square foot, while on the Beijing side, it is less than 10,000 per square meter. The disparity is so vast that anyone not foolish can understand the reason behind it. Ordinary people began to criticize the four prominent families for inflating real estate prices, flooding them with phone calls denouncing such shameless behavior. The young lady is right. This time, the rise in the Hong Kong real estate market is clearly a conspiracy by the four families, who are hoarding a bunch of properties and planning to double their assets. As far as I know, the Li family has started to invest tens of billions of HKD to buy upland for development. As the Hang Seng Index warms up, this has sparked outrage, with many denouncing the Li family and the Zheng family for their blatant actions. The four families are all buying properties just to inflate the market, which is utterly shameless. This wave of rising property prices in Hong Kong is premeditated, aimed at increasing the assets of the four families once again. Fortunately, the young lady pointed this out. If property prices in Hong Kong truly reach 300,000 per square foot, not even one of the wealthy can afford to buy. And we will definitely resist and refuse to buy. We would rather purchase properties in Beijing than in Hong Kong. In the future, living in Beijing and working in Hong Kong will be just as feasible. Some suggested buying houses in Beijing and commuting to work in Hong Kong. In fact, this choice will be made by many Hong Kong residents in 10 years, working in Hong Kong to earn money and then spending it in Beijing. With such a clear gap between the two places and property price differences visible, no one wants to be taken advantage of by the four families. Even those with some assets, planning to buy properties for appreciation, have their eyes on Beijing's real estate. As a result, many people rush to invest in Beijing's real estate, completely abandoning Hong Kong's market. This wave of the four families attempting to inflate Hong Kong's real estate prices to 300,000 per square foot is destined to fail. Inside Li Chaoren's mansion, Mr. Zheng was originally enjoying drinks with Li Chaoren, discussing the benefits brought to their two families by the recent rise in the real estate market. With the Hang Seng Index recovering, they had already bought up several pieces of land and invested another 500 billion Hong Kong dollars. As long as Hong Kong's property prices break through 200,000 HKD to 250,000 HKD, they would make a substantial profit. A revenue of 300 billion Hong Kong dollars is guaranteed. At that time, their assets would continue to increase. How could they not be happy and excited? They had played this game many times before and did not think they would fail. Li Chaoren, the most confident among them, smiled and said, "Mr. Zheng, Let's achieve new heights this time. If Hong Kong's real estate prices rise to 300,000 per square foot, our investment could double, making us tens of billions of HKD. Mr. Zheng laughed heartily. Indeed, this is even more profitable than trading in finance. We don't need that kid's help to make so much money. In fact, it wouldn't matter whether he helped or not. Li Chaoran scoffed. That's right. His financial operations can indeed earn him 100 billion Hong Kong dollars in one go, but it still pales in comparison to the speed at which our four families make money. Inflating property prices can also earn us hundreds of billions of HKD, and it's not much different from his financial dealings. The most terrifying aspect of Hong Kong capital is the real estate market. It can match the speed of profit in finance. As the two were drinking, they were unaware that a news report was about to come out, and the head of the company's property division called them. Their expressions changed, looking bewildered at the unfolding situation. Many people in Hong Kong who had purchased properties were pulling out their investments, and some who had signed loan agreements were now entering the Bayesian market. Banks were exchanging RMB at a higher rate, and many Hong Kong residents took their money and invested in Bayesian's real estate. The news report didn't mention it, but even the heads of the sales offices hurriedly conveyed this situation. Boss, many people who had prepaid deposits for our properties are now backing out. They are withdrawing their deposits and planning to buy houses in Bayesian. No, this is bad, Mr. Li. Our properties are not selling well, and some people are causing trouble at our sales offices, holding signs saying we are disrupting the Hong Kong market and vandalizing our sales offices. Li Chaoran's face turned pale. He never expected things would turn out this way. What happened? It was clear that this time, inflating property prices had sparked public outrage. Ordinary people were furious about the actions of the four families. Some actively went to the sales offices, directly vandalizing and protesting. Several sales offices were vandalized. And Li Chaoran's face turned ashen as he had to instruct his servants to prepare a car to accompany Mr. Zheng to the scene to assess the situation. Originally, property prices in Hong Kong were 150,000 per square foot. Now they have reached 200,000 per square foot. This has already crossed the bottom line for some workers, who have spent decades earning money but still cannot afford a 30 square meter apartment. With the current rise, it is even more impossible for hundreds of years. The four major families plan to raise the housing market to 300,000 per square foot, which is simply insane. In anger, some people rushed to the sales office. It was said that the largest sales office in the new territories was in chaos, with some directly holding up signs and shouting in indignation. The Crazy Li family, get out of Hong Kong and return our hard-earned money. The housing prices across the river in Bayesian are only 10,000 per square meter, while here, you can't even buy 1 square meter for 1 million. Buying a house in Bayesian, here you can't even afford a toilet. You are too shameless. If it weren't for TVB reporting it, and Mr. Chen's sister revealing the matter, we would have been completely deceived by you. Dozens of people gathered here, constantly smashing and shouting, and the staff at the sales office had no way to handle it. The security guards didn't dare to touch these people. Otherwise, if someone lay down, it would escalate even further. Even if Li Chaoran came here, he would have a pale face, not knowing what to do. Following this group of people, there were also quite a few reporters who seized the opportunity and immediately stepped forward to ask him questions. Mr. Li, may I ask, do you have no conscience raising the housing price this time from the original 150,000 per square foot to now 200,000? The land price in the center of Bayesian is now at most 30,000 per square meter, and we want to reach 300,000 per square foot. Mr. Li, do you have anything to say? This time, the ordinary people of Hong Kong all know that the housing prices in Bayesian are low. Mr. Li, do you still think you can drive up the Hong Kong housing market? A group of reporters asked questions, and Li Chaoran's face turned pale, unable to say a word. Mr. Zheng beside him was also annoyed by the questions. He raised his hand and couldn't help but push a reporter. Who would have known? One reporter fell down and immediately acted as if he were a drama king. The four major families of Hong Kong are attacking people. Mr. Zheng, angry and embarrassed, actually resorted to violence. As soon as the words came out, countless reporters surrounded them, and cameras clicked nonstop, taking numerous photos, fearing that the news would make the front page tomorrow. Because of the failure to raise the Hong Kong housing market, Mr. Zheng was furious and physically assaulted a reporter. Now, Mr. Zheng looks extremely frustrated. He only slightly pushed the microphone away from his face. Who would have known that the reporter would fall down like an Oscar winner? His reputation is now ruined. The four major families are going to be condemned by everyone. Chapter 92. The Zheng family driven to bloodshed early in the morning. Hong Kong was quite chaotic. The four major families wanted to drive up the real estate market. But Qin Fei directly had TVB report on the price disparity between Hong Kong and the North Shenzhen area. This successfully ignited the flames of conflict, enraging the lower-class homebuyers in Hong Kong. In less than half a day, more than 10 sales offices in Hong Kong were vandalized, and in the end, the four major families had no choice but to close the sales offices and start rectification. What Qin Fei did not expect was that a reporter pushed down by Mr. Zheng from the Zheng family fell to the ground. After putting on a dramatic act, the reporter claimed that Mr. Zheng had assaulted him, which made it to the front page and trended online. The forums were buzzing with discussions. Titles unfavorable to the four major families also appeared on the Hong Kong forums. Zheng XX is truly shameless, bullying a weak reporter and resorting to violence. It's too much. Post 1. How despicable. The four major families are all like this, bullying others with their power. I bet they've already sent thugs to teach that reporter a lesson. Post 10. We must strongly resist the bullying behavior of the four major families. Why is no one stepping up to stop this? Post 100. I support Mr. Qin stepping up to uphold justice. The despicable four major families only bully us poor people. Post 101. I request Mr. Qin to uphold justice, expose the four major families. Post 102. I ask Mr. Qin and the young lady to stand up for justice. Many people began to call for him to take action, and since he had not done anything, some thought of him. After all, his reputation was currently at its peak in Hong Kong, quite different from the notorious four major families. With a smirk, Qin Fei watched all of this unfold, planning to fan the flames further. He was a good person, absolutely standing on the side of the ordinary people in Hong Kong. Although the four major families had cooperated in the past, it did not mean he would help the capital. Now that the four major families were in a weak position, he certainly wanted to give them a push. Even better, to push them off a cliff. After all, the capital forces in Hong Kong needed a reshuffle. His Qin group could not continue to rise. So, he made a phone call to the PR department of TVB, contacting the reporter who had been pushed down by Mr. Zheng yesterday. With a smile, he instructed them to conduct a news interview to comfort the injured reporter, donate to the opponent, and at the same time help promote the story. He allocated 1 million Hong Kong dollars. That amount was enough, and this incident would also enhance TVB's reputation. The other party readily agreed and immediately arranged for a female reporter from the interview department to visit the injured reporter, bringing along the 1 million Hong Kong dollars donated by Qin Fei. This time, it was impossible for the four major families not to catch fire. The Hong Kong real estate market could not possibly rise, but TVB's stock price rose to 130 Hong Kong dollars, making Qin Fei smile. Originally, he had spent hundreds of billions on TVB, and this wave of stock price increase allowed him to recoup some of his investment. At the same time, his invested company, Penguin, planned to officially list on the Hang Seng, with a pre-sale price of 150 Hong Kong dollars. After listing, they sold 10 of the shares. The stock price rose, but not significantly, only going from 150 Hong Kong dollars to 155 Hong Kong dollars. It seemed that without external forces pushing it, it would be difficult to break through the 160 Hong Kong dollars mark. The first day of listing saw a 10 fluctuation, but the increase was still minimal. The Hong Kong stock market was different from the mainland. In the mainland, new stocks required subscriptions, while in Hong Kong, anyone could buy stocks immediately after listing, buying on the rise or fall. Considering the likelihood of a slight decline in the future, if they could not break through 160 Hong Kong dollars, it would be hard for him to stabilize Penguin stock. While he sighed the situation, checking the rising stock of Penguin for profits, a phone call came in, and unexpectedly, it was from the Zheng family. This time, the Zheng family was truly in trouble. They had been pushed into the spotlight by the media and were now the focus of the four major families' attention, receiving insults about their ancestors for generations. Finally unable to bear it, They sought him out for a solution. Mr. Qin, we have no way out. Please help